Good evening, everyone. I will call to order the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for June of 2021. Carrie, would you take the roll call, please?
Charles Kruger,
Here.
Chris Torty,
Here.
Marcia Wells,
Here.
Larry Stilson,
Here.
Joel Dendu.
Here.
Thank you. An explanation of the rules and procedures you will see up on the screen today. First, we will call the appellate up to give the reason for their appeal. Anyone in the audience or virtually who'd like to speak in favor of the appeal will go next. Those who want to speak against the appeal will be third, and then the appellant will have the right of rebuttal. After that, we'll have any staff recommendation, a board discussion, and a board vote. Board, you will see your May meeting minutes. Are there any changes, corrections,
No.
anything? If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Is there any conflict of interest declared amongst the board?
None
No.
here.
No.
All right. Because we do have a couple of people attending virtually, I will go through the agenda first so that they know where they are in order. Those of you who are attending virtually, if you would keep your mics muted until it's time for you to speak, we'd appreciate that. If you have any questions and you're attending virtually, please just stop us and let us know. First on the agenda is Appeal 21-13. That involves 945 East 6th Street. Next is Appeal 21-14. That is for 2602 Lexington Boulevard. The third appeal is 21-15, 4310 Cottage Avenue. And finally, 21-16 for 3407 Lincoln Way East and 106 Maplewood Avenue. So we will start tonight with with Appeal 21-13, an appeal submitted by Sells Enterprises LLC requesting a developmental variance for 945 East 6th Street to allow a gravel surface for fire access drives. And I understand someone is attending virtually to speak to that appeal. Is that correct?
Terry Pennington is who we were expecting. Is he on the line?
Okay, Terry, one more chance. Are you there?
Unmute.
Perhaps you can unmute your mic. Terry? Okay.
Circle back.
Yeah, we can
Okay,
take,
we can
put
come
this at
back
the
to
end.
that.
All
at
right,
the
can you
end.
hear me now?
Oh.
Oh, yes, yes, go right ahead.
All right, my name is Terry Pennington. I'm with Core Event, and you know, when we did this addition, we met what we thought everything that we needed to meet. And when the fire marshal, Mr. George Schaefer, came in and drove over the driveway, he at that time, along with the building inspector Bo Hunt, gave us occupancy permit at that time, and it was passed, I thought. So, and that permit was issued 9/23 of 2019, our occupancy permit. So then, you know, I don't know, you know, at that point in time, after, you know, we were deemed legal to go ahead and start using the building, and then we got this letter from the city, which I guess now we're looking at maybe paving part of the south drive or an apron, and we don't have a problem with that. We just, you know, want to know, and we did do all the other gravel that was on the site plan that you see has been done, and like I said, George did drive on it with his truck, and so that has been done, and we're only going to use this in emergency situations if there is a fire. It's not for us. It's not for our employees to come in or go out. We already have asphalt parking, so We're just trying to figure out what we need to do to get this closed and be in compliance with the city.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone attending tonight's meeting who would like to speak in favor of this appeal? Anyone attending virtually who'd like to speak in favor? Okay, anyone here who'd like to speak against the appeal? Anyone attending virtually who'd like to speak against this appeal? Okay. Are there any questions from the board?
Yes, it says here the fire marshal indicated that he needs to have a driveway that, to handle the heaviest fire equipment.
Correct.
And has that been resolved, or?
It has not. That's the
Yes,
part
we
we're
put-
talking about tonight.
Okay, that's not. Okay.
Right, is that correct, Mr. Pennington?
No, ma'am. We put in 2-inch slag, which is a very, very solid base, very good foundation for this emergency drive for the fire trucks. And like I said, when Mr. George Schaefer, fire marshal at that time, drove all the way up and down these emergency roads for fire trucks, and being the fire marshal signed off on it at that point in time and said that was sufficient. So, if anybody knows, I think it would be him, if that's sufficient to hold his apparatus and his fire trucks.
Madam Chairperson, if I
Yes.
may.
Yes, please.
Mr. George Schaefer, who was the fire marshal at the time that the occupancy went in, has since retired, and a different fire marshal approved or reviewed the plans. So that may account for the discrepancy of one not knowing that the other one had driven on there. So just, I think it was more of a comment by the current fire marshal
Okay,
that it has to meet those standards. It sounds like they do if Mr. Schaefer has driven the equipment on them. But that's maybe the discrepancy, is that there were
Okay.
two different fire marshals involved in this project.
okay. So, but we need to go by what the current fire marshal is telling us, is that correct?
Well, he's the one that reviewed it.
So,
Go ahead.
Madam Chairman, Chris Torty here. So what we're voting on is the south drive to be gravel, the north drive must be paved.
Correct,
Correct.
That's what we're voting on.
correct,
And Mr.
Okay.
Pennington, who's on the line, is in agreement.
correct.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
I just want to know how much of the south drive you want paved, how thick it needs to be. Can it be asphalt? Does it have to be concrete? That's my questions on, what I need to do to bring this up to compliance for the city, and we just, continue on.
None of the south drive has to be paved south of the building, so that can be permitted to be gravel. And it's the north one coming off of 6th Street. So that one has to be
Okay.
paved in its entirety. Originally, I think it was said just the approach, but it's not a very long distance into the property, so that one has to be paved all the way into the property where the gravel is.
Okay, now when we say paved, can it be asphalt off the street?
Concrete or asphalt. Whatever, within the public right-of-way, the section would have to meet the commercial curb cut requirements that the Department of Engineering.
There's no curbs on this.
The
You know,
curb cut, so
basically-
whatever the approach. So coming back off the street,
Okay, all right.
I'm not sure if it has to be, there's a certain thickness of concrete, so as long as it meets that requirement for engineering and within the public right-of-way, that section.
Okay, so will somebody from engineering, if this gets approved, will somebody from engineering then let us know what we need to do? Is that
Correct.
how this works?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so we are in agreement that the south drive can be gravel, the north drive needs to be paved. Is that correct, Mr. Pennington?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
yes, that's, I'm in agreement with, whatever we have to do. I just, this is only for emergency cases. Like I said, it's, I would just like to keep them all gravel, but I understand you guys' concerns, but, I just, when the fire marshal says it's good and signs it off, just throws a wrench in my, in my whole plan that I thought we were done with this, and so I just got to figure out what we got to do to make this right. So
Okay, we understand there was a little bit of confusion, and we'll move on from there, and I know you'll get this done for us. Are there any other questions from the board, any comments?
Now,
I have
we're-
I have-
excuse me.
Go ahead.
Larry Stilson. So we are just voting on whether, for the, allow the gravel on the south. That's what we're
Correct.
voting on.
Correct.
We have no input relative to the pavement,
Correct.
that kind of thing. So
Correct.
the only thing we're doing is looking
gravel.
at the gravel, and then you, and the city will decide the amount of gravel, or the thickness of the
Correct.
gravel, or the type of gravel. Okay, all right,
Okay,
good enough.
thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
That was your,
It's confusing because in the recommendations, it says that the North Drive must be paved.
right,
So that's confusing. Got it.
Right.
Okay.
We're just dealing with the gravel.
Understood.
okay.
Okay.
All right, I will close the public hearing on Appeal 21-13. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve Appeal 2113.
Second. Chris Torti.
There is a motion and a second to approve Appeal 2113. Carrie, would you poll the board, please?
Charles Kruger,
Yes.
Chris Torti,
Yes.
Marcia Wells,
Yes.
Larry Stilson,
Yes.
Joel Dendu.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That passes 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Pennington.
thank
We
you, guys.
appreciate you being
I
here.
appreciate. Thank you for your time.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Bye.
Next is Appeal 21-14, an appeal submitted by Jacqueline. Thank you. Requesting a developmental variance for 2602 Lexington Boulevard to allow a solid fence with an exterior side yard setback of 3 feet. And if you will just state your name and your address for Carrie, and then tell us what you'd like to do.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline Nadolny. I'm the homeowner at 2602 Lexington Boulevard, which is the northeast corner lot on Lexington at Elm Road. I'm requesting the developmental variance to replace an existing 6-foot wood privacy fence with another 6-foot wood privacy fence, only along the Elm Road portion of my property and the south-facing portion, which faces Lexington. The new fencing will be in the exact same location as the old fencing, but it's only 3 feet from the property line, not the required 12 and a half feet. So I'd like to note that there have been no visibility issues all these years, and I've lived there since 1989. I have a couple of neighbors who came to me and said they also support replacing the fencing. So thank you for your consideration.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else here who'd like to speak in favor of this appeal? Anyone attending virtually who'd like to speak in favor of the appeal? Okay, is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition? Anyone attending virtually who'd like to speak in opposition of the appeal? Okay, we'll close the public hearing on Appeal 21-14. Questions or comments from the board? Okay, all right. Derek, anything?
No additional comment.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move that Appeal 21-14 be approved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve Appeal 21-14. Carrie?
Charles Kruger,
Yes.
Chris Torti,
Yes.
Marcia Wells,
Yes?
Larry Stilson,
Yes.
Joel Dendu.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That passes 5-0. You're welcome. Next is Appeal 21-15, an appeal submitted by Donald C. Olson and Nancy J. Scott Olson, requesting a developmental variance for 4310 Cottage Avenue to allow a deck with a 9-foot rear yard setback. If you'll give your names and address.
Good evening. Hello. I'm Donald Olson. This is my wife Nancy. And we built a new home at 4310 Cottage Avenue about a year ago. And this year, we're attempting to put a deck on the north side of the house, which faces the river. And unfortunately, the deck, we share the property line with the American Electric Power, and they own 31 feet back from the river's edge. Well, where we want to put the deck, the front of our deck is within 9 feet of that property line, and there's a 25-foot setback requirement on the drawing, which puts our deck within 9 feet of that variance.
So you're not interfering with the I&M easement?
No, and we have a letter from them, I wrote them, and I have a letter, it may be in the package of information you have.
It was in the package.
Yeah, it was from Christine Svoboda, where
Right.
she says she sees no problems or issues with it at all.
Oh, gotcha. I
Okay.
see it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of the appeal? Anyone attending virtually who'd like to speak in favor? Is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition? And anyone attending virtually who'd like to speak in opposition? Okay, we'll close the public hearing on Appeal 21-15. Is there any board discussion or questions? Okay, anything, Derek?
No additional comment.
All right. I will entertain a motion.
Yes, Madam Chairman, I recommend we approve Appeal 21-15.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve Appeal 21-15. Carrie?
Charles Kruger,
Yes,
Chris Torty,
Yes.
Marcia Wells,
Yes?
Larry Stillson,
Yes.
Joel Dindu.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. That appeal passes 5-0. Good luck with your deck. I'll bet you are, yes. You're welcome.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. And next is Appeal 21-16, an appeal submitted by BTB Properties LLC, requesting a developmental variance for 3407 Lincoln Way East and 106 Maplewood Avenue to allow a front yard setback of 16 feet for step and walkway ramp to patio. If you'd state your name and address for us.
Tom Wilson, 10245 Vistula Road.
Okay, and what would you like to do?
Well, we'd like to get approval for the deck and the stairway within the fence area to increase some seating and a little patio area. We do have a doorway on the very front towards Lincoln Way, but we thought this was a lot better option or way to go, being within the fenced area and everything.
Mr. Wilson, does this exist already, or?
It does.
It does.
I'm the landowner, and I have some renters, and they were the ones doing the construction.
So it already exists?
The doorway, yes, and the deck, yes.
And the deck? Okay, and they didn't check beforehand?
I don't think so.
Okay,
They did get approval on the fence.
okay.
What about the door on Lincoln Way? Did you say that is being removed?
No, that's an existing door. It's an emergency exit right now.
Okay.
It's the original part of the building, the original door, entrance door for it.
Okay,
It just seemed like this was a more pliable way to go.
okay. Derek, since engineering had that comment, is that going to be an issue?
It's not an issue. no.
Okay, all right, very good. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyone here who'd like to speak in favor of this appeal? I approve. Close enough. Anyone attending virtually who'd like to speak in favor? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Anyone attending virtually to speak in opposition? Okay, I'll close the public hearing on Appeal 2116. Board, is there any discussion or further questions?
No.
Anything? Okay. I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chairman, I move to approve Appeal 21-16 as written.
I'd second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve Appeal 21-16. Carrie?
Charles Kruger,
Yes.
Chris Torty,
Yes.
Marcia Wells,
Yes?
Larry Stilson,
Yes.
Joel Denden.
Yes.
Okay, that appeal passes 5-0. You are very welcome. Any old business tonight, dear?
None,
New business?
none.
There never is. Come on, guys. All right. Any privilege of the floor? David, anything you want to say?
David?
If not, we're adjourned. See you in July.